Hundreds of thousands in Algeria have taken to the streets in various cities, demanding the resignation of President Abdelaziz Bouteflika. It's the sixth successive Friday of mass anti-government protests in the country. Friday's demonstrations come just days after the country's powerful military called for the 82-year-old president to step down. A little earlier, I spoke with Kamal Mansari, an Algiers-based journalist and editor of Le Jeune Independent. I began by asking what he'd been seeing out on the streets today.
The first impression or the first details or parameters that we noticed that there's less security measures. The police forces have been reduced. They were apparent only on the street conducting to the presidential area or to the Ministry of Defense. So the police forces left the street to demonstrators in the entire city, and including the other city where the demonstration had been held today for the 6 weeks in a row. So this is the first particular element. The second element is that this sixth demonstration is considered or could be perceived as a referendum to the proposal made by the chief of the staff of the army, who invoked the Article 102 of the Constitution, declaring the President Bouteflika unfit to rule. And this is it was a response or rebuff from the street to the chief of the army. On the other hand, we have seen demonstrators just like they are reacting in a savvy way, in a cautious way, to any proposal made so far by the system or what they consider the people or the major power holders in Algeria. But what we are, this is on one side of the landscape. On the other side of the landscape is the fact that there is no response from the authorities to the demand of demonstrators so far. But we are hearing, but this is an unconfirmed report. We have some unconfirmed reports saying that the former president, Yamin Zerwel, who ran the country from 1995 to 1999, has been called and is probably now in Algiers and doing some negotiation, conducting some negotiation with some authorities here in Algiers, and probably in the coming hours or probably in the coming days, he will be probably proposed as the guy or the person to lead a transition.
Mr. Mansari, when you look out at the crowds, who is making up the people protesting? Are they young, old, educated, rural, city? Who are these people?
Yeah, the majority of the demonstrations are young, but they have been joined in the last weeks by iconic figures, by old people. We have some political leaders who have joined the crowds in Algiers but nobody's leading. To be honest, nobody's leading the crowd. Everything has been done on social network. People are calling for demonstrations on their social networks, but a lot of people are joining. Not just the young people who have been just like the fuel of the demonstration so far, but it's getting the demonstration are gaining support and gaining in terms of numbers. A lot of people are joining, and this is why today we can tell it was just like, according to official figures, it's the most important demonstration today in Algiers in terms of figures and estimates.
Kamal Mansari speaking to me earlier.